Welcome to Chris's Corner. Today we got on Mr. Ray from the Houston gaming scene. How you doing, my friend? How is
Hey,
Houston going down
what's up,
today?
Chris? How's it going, man? How's everything up in Canada?
It's warming up. It's warming up. So I'm very, very happy. It's not as cold, so you can grow some food. You can actually get people moving, get people enjoying. How's your weekend going, or how's the start of your weekend going?
Oh, it's great. We just got a bunch of rain here in Houston, so shout outs to all my friends, anybody who's having a tough time because there's a lot of flooding going on,
Oh,
people
is
getting
there?
stranded, stuff like that. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Like a lot of flooding, or is it just like it's getting bad,
yeah.
it's getting
Well,
worse?
the flooding already happened, so there's some more flooding coming along tonight and tomorrow.
Well, knock on wood for anybody in Houston.
Right.
Yeah, come together, and if you need to DM Ray. He's always a good man to talk to if you're struggling, or myself, and we can figure out a solution. Figure out something. Um,
Send them for sure.
um, Getting into a little bit of the topic of the Houston gaming scene, I really wanted to find out a little bit more from you, the man, the myth, the legend. Why did you create the Houston gaming scene? What was it that you're like, you know what? I need to create this group and I need to create this impact here. Why?
It kind of sort of just started off as a simple group and
Yeah.
it gained traction because of the people who were in the group. I think I can't take too much credit. There's a lot of people that are in the group that post daily, weekly, monthly, and they're pretty dedicated.
Top of the
We have,
name. Top guys that are dedicating their time to your
oh
group.
man,
Any
I'll
guys
have
that
to get back to you.
All
I'll
right,
have to
get
get
back
back
to
to you
me.
on that. No,
No.
I posted usually the top contributors, and so in the Houston gaming scene, you can
Yeah.
see sometimes every month there's usually the top contributors, and we'll give them a shout out. So they're different every month, but we do have a good 10 that post weekly. So there's across the board from football to Apex Legends, Call of Duty Mobile. There's a bunch of games I'm leaving out, but yeah, it all started I think like in 2015,
Oh,
maybe
wow.
2014,
So a few years
and
ago.
it started off mainly with a bunch of Houston folks. There was already another group called Houston Fighting Game Scene, and I sort of took that name and ran with it and just said, you know what? There's no Houston gaming scene to where anybody can post anything that they want instead of just fighting games. So I made it more universal. That way, we can have a more broader selection of people posting, and it's monitored. So there's a lot of quality material on there being posted and a lot of original content.
That's cool. That's really cool at where you came up with that, where you found a niche and where you're sort of like realizing like let's build a community. And how is that type of community? How is the Houston gaming scene community? Like how are the members? Are they, like
Yeah.
the typical groups that some people, you know, put each other down? Or like what's the community like?
Not really. I think it's more of a very honest group. So if there's any sort of dishonest, it can be sniffed out pretty fast by the Houston gaming group. They're typically pretty solid on gaming references, movies, things of that nature, computer parts,
They know their stuff.
consoles. Yeah. So not anybody can just walk up there and I mean, by all means, if you're a noob, ask all the questions you want. But as soon as we get an audience that's some folks who go in there talking trash, they usually stand up to the bullies and
That's
call the
awesome.
call the aggressors out. And
That's cool.
because we sort of just it's an unwritten rule we have in our group that we shouldn't treat we shouldn't treat each other that way.
100%.
Mm.
Now, going a little bit more personal with you with games, what type of gamer are you? Are you a console, PC, or mobile gamer, and why? And what's your favorite game?
I've always been console. I just recently became mobile, just
Yeah,
because there's a lot of interesting games that are in the mobile sector.
yeah.
But the console, I'm on PS4, I'm on Xbox and PC.
Oh, wow.
Typically, I'm playing first-person shooters. And I've been playing a lot of games with my son. He plays games like Minecraft, Roblox, and things like that. So I'm getting a exposure to a wide variety. But I wish to get in more into like League of Legends and get on the PC side. But that's another story.
That's another story we could talk about another
Yeah.
time. Now, going back to your kid days, because I know my kid days, games were a lot different back then than they are now, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, what types of games did you play, and what was the community like when you were a kid, when you played video games back in the day?
It was I think when I was younger, Street Fighter was out, the very first one. Duck Hunt, Mario, those were the big ones. And I think like the Pokemon games, those were the big ones when we were young. And the crowd back then was sort of real geeky, real nerdy crew. And so I used to hang out with the cool kids and also the gaming kids, which are now these days they're actually the cool kids now.
100%.
It's the other way around now. So I was happy to have friends that are on both sides. I still do. And Houston gaming scene is like that. It's a mix. So it's not just one particular game, not one particular type of. There's 10-year-olds on there. There's 8-year-olds on there that I see their moms. Hey, please hype my kid up, and
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I would love to share that. I see other people sharing that too.
Have you noticed, like, so what you're talking about, the cool kids and the nerdy, the geeky kids back then, have you noticed, like, what type of community is it now in the gaming scene? Like, what would you say it's like? Is it popular now? Is it like a trend? Is it people are divisions and divisions in that community? Like, is this community stronger than
I can't really speak
your perspective,
but yeah, from my personal experience, I think it's just like everything else. Just like when it comes to different countries, but gaming, I feel like is more like a universal language, universal thing that two players can play together and not necessarily have to speak English. As long as they know the controllers, as long as they know the map, and they can have fun. So that's why I see it as that. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's actually interesting. You saying it's like it's a universal language. Like, people come together, have fun, and get to know each other better. And I really like that actually interpretation of it. I want to throw something at you. You may like it, you may not. So let's just see a mad minute. I want just raw thoughts and feelings on one word that I'll ask you 5 or 6 different words. Yeah. Whatever comes out is your own personal experience. There's no bias, no judgment. All right. First word, Canada. What's the first thing that's coming out?
Bears.
All right, Bears. All right. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Oh, God. A Molotov.
Molotov. Elon Musk.
Oh, shit. Tesla.
All right. Awesome. 3D virtual games.
Oculus Rift.
All right. What about mental health?
Anxiety, depression.
Okay. Guns.
Guns?
Yeah, guns.
Like gaming guns.
Let's do gaming guns. Okay.
Nothing that I can reference that comes to mind.
Real guns.
I can name one. Not real guns, but fake guns.
Yeah.
On Call of Duty, camos. Camos come to mind. I love doing camos.
All right. Houston.
That it's inside Texas.
Joe Rogan.
Oh man, working out.
And lastly, UFC or MMA.
Oh man, brutal. Brutal.
All right. So that's just a fun little mad minute. And go back to the point that you said about mental health, depression, and things like that. What is the vibe? Because I'm not living there. You are. What's the vibe like when it comes to people's mental health there? You just said there's a flood coming.
Oh
We
yeah.
had the pandemic or COVID. You know, what is it like there with people overall and their mental health?
I think it goes back to when we were talking about the universal language. That's what I was sort of getting at, was that because there's so many different people and there's so many people going through different things, the vibe, I think it's just like across the board. But I think mainly, there's people be honest. To be honest, people are sometimes honest with you when they're chatting online, if they want to open up with you or if they don't. I mean, there was a time where we used to host gaming tournaments back in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And there were moments where we had hard times, where we lost some gamers, sort of like suicide things that happen. And so sometimes it gets pretty interesting, and you'd be surprised. It'd be the most nicest, most talkative person that will have like a lot of issues going on in their life and just need a friend to talk to. And they come out to the games and the tournaments for that reason, is because, it's to get away from their regular life. And so that's, I can touch on that because I have experience with that.
That's your perspective.
Yeah. We had a good friend of ours that passed away like around 2017, I believe it was. His name was Austin. And he was a really good guy. But I wish we had more time to sit down and play more games with him. Just because I feel like, if we would have spoke to him a little bit more, I feel like we could have saved him from whatever struggles that he was going on. Because at the end, it was like, man, that was our friend. And he was also a fellow gamer. And so I think it's like a silent thing when it comes to speaking about your troubles. A lot of people don't want to expose themselves or feel like vulnerable.
But why not expose yourself? What's like invulnerable? Like what is it like not exposing yourself? Is it like perceived as weak? Being a man, we're perceived as weak when we talk about
whatever their reason is. I mean, sometimes, we have folks from Mexico, we have folks from India. They all come from different sort of paths where they have their own family struggles and things of that nature. So it's never just like one thing. It's always like different things. So we just try to be there for our friends and do the best we can and play, beat the shit out of
have fun.
But beat each other in games and talk about it and get it all off our chest.
Yeah. Going into the mental health side, is there anything in Texas, like in your personal opinion, is there any organizations for men, women, when you're having those stress attacks, you're a bit depressed, is there anything out there that we can put in the link below for people if they are stressed or if they are depressed or if they need a helping hand? Is there something that you know of that has benefited you or your life or your friends' lives? That'd be awesome to share.
I think there's a lot of hotlines for a lot of different issues. I mean, any link that anybody has questions about, any kind of links, feel free to ask and we'll send them. I mean, it's just a simple Google search that I probably do to suicide hotline, to repeat offenders, to whatever it is. I mean, there's a 1-800 number for everything. But if you don't, a lot of the times I think people just don't have friends sometimes, and that I think that's what they're afraid of, is to say that they don't have friends. Yeah. And so if anybody out there that hears this message or is looking at this video, feel free to send us a message or even join our Houston gaming group or join Chris's Corner. And I mean, we'll get you to the right, folks, and we'll hear you out. I don't have a problem. That's how I met Chris. He just reached out to me one day.
That's the way. My last question, in your perspective, the most debatable question that I've heard from, so I've talked to a couple doctors, psychologists, and, talking to a few fellow gamers. I'm a gamer myself, part-time mobile. yeah, getting their PC eventually, is the rage-old debate of gaming is bad for your mental health. You play on those video games, it's going to hurt your mental health, make you worse. You've heard of it. I imagine you've heard of it on your side of things, or maybe you haven't, but I've talked to quite a few people, and it's come up over and over again. Now, in your perspective, in my perspective, I think there's some merit. Like, well, what's the right word? It's if you overdo something, it's like anything. Like you can kill yourself with water, drinking too much water, to eating too much, to eating too less. Do I think gaming? I don't know, and I don't maybe have that experience and around a lot of gaming types of people in my life. So talking to you, who has maybe more experience than I do, what do you think, in your perspective?
I think it's like anything. I think it's like eating or drinking, like what you said. I think it could be a bad thing if you're constantly going to gaming because you need a sense of accomplishment, because maybe there's not enough accomplishment in your life. I think some people will maybe go a little bit too far. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, I think there's others that dedicate themselves to being a pro gamer. And I think that's admirable. I don't think that's it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. I mean, if your DNA is you're just that good, then by all means be a pro and go out there and spend a lot of hours and do that. But I think at some point a pro even is gonna be having issues, mental issues, because of so much gaming. He's gonna have to do normal human things on the side, have hobbies, things of that nature, instead of just being pro gamer. I think the same goes for a noob or somebody who's just an at-home gamer who plays all the time. They need to have hobbies. They need to have other things than that game where that's the only thing that gives you the sense of accomplishment. And I think, like your reference as far as like water, it's like water's good for you, but if you have so much water, you can pass out and really hurt your body and get yourself sent to the hospital. So a little bit at a time, or if it's just in your DNA, or you really, really suck really, really bad, you just got to tell yourself, hey, I'm just a casual player. I can't be a pro. Don't be so hard on yourself. So yeah.
And any words of advice or motto or quotes for your Houston gaming group, or for anybody that's like, hey, they fit my vibe, I'm a new guy, don't know where to go. Anything that you want to just say, last words to anybody from that's a new guy to old school guys that have been with your group for a while?
Just be real, man. Have fun, because the ones that are like, being negative or calling names or whatever, it's not as fun, I get it. Sometimes we get hype and the party chat, the chat gets live and we get emotional, but I think good sportsmanship is the key to everything, because we have to respect each other as gamers, as casual or professional. I think it's important. Good sportsmanship. That would be my final.
100%. Well, thank you, Ray, for your time. Knock on wood, everybody in Houston is okay the next few days. And thank you again for the Houston gaming scene. You got Ray. Thank you, my friend. Have a fantastic evening. Take care.
You too, buddy. Take care.
All right.